Hey, it's Tracy Lizotte here to show you how to create the look of realistic wood grain with watercolors. Now, just like any time I want to create something that looks real, I pull out references to help feed the art side of my brain information so it'll know what to do. And I'm using my 140-pound hot press block of Arches watercolor paper to create this painting on. Now, the first thing I want to do is mark out a few parallel lines to help guide me when creating the look of these wood boards. And to do it quickly, I'm using my pencil as a measuring guide. I'm using the tip of the pencil and my thumb to help mark off measurements to keep my lines parallel. And I'm not worried that these measurements aren't precise. I'm okay with capturing an old, distressed look of the boards. And if they're a little uneven, it'll add to the charm. Next, I want you to look at the reference image closely. I want you to look at the lines and shapes that form the wood grain. And if you don't have a reference image to look at, you can use the ones I'm using. They're available for free in my Art Academy. You can click the link in my YouTube description and head on over there. You might have to sign up, but once you're signed up, you can access these references for free and use them to give the art side of your brain information on exactly what to draw for lines and shapes and what to create for color and texture. I recommend loosely drawing in a few knots and maybe indicating a few lines where you want the wood grain, but don't go overboard because creating the texture of wood grain is a lot of fun with watercolors. And you don't want to box yourself in with too many lines. You're going to want to let the watercolor do its thing when building up this texture. All right, I'm ready to add my first layer. Now I'm going to use my size 12 round brush and I'm going to mix up a very weathered looking brown using sepia and yellow ochre. Now I'm adding a lot of water to that color mixture so that it is very watered down and the color is really light. So in this first layer, you want to establish the lightest colors that you see in the reference that you're using. And I am using the reference of the wood that is very light and weathered, unlike the other reference where the wood has a lot of warm reds in it. If I was to use that reference, I would have added some burnt sienna to this mixture. But I'm not. I'm going to stick with the look of the wood in the first reference that I'm using. But feel free to use the other reference if you prefer it. Once you have an understanding of how to create the texture of wood grain, it is so much fun to practice creating this look using all sorts of different types of wood grain because there's such a variety out there. So there's a lot of different ways you could explore creating this texture. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is establish the lightest colors and textures that you see in the reference. So it's really, really important to always look over at the reference photo to feed the creative side of your brain information because all the information you need is right there in that reference. Now, you can see here how I dragged my large round brush back and forth across all the boards in long horizontal strokes. Sometimes I had a little bit more water, sometimes I had a little bit more brown, sometimes I had a little bit more sepia. So I varied the texture a little bit, but everything is basically in horizontal brush strokes and they're a little wavy, and that's good. Now, the most important thing you need to remember is to keep these first brush strokes super light, which means adding a lot of water to your color. You really want to dilute your color so that there's a lot of the white of the paper shining through these brush strokes. Now, don't worry if you create a brushstroke you don't like. This is just the beginning. There are a lot of layers we're going to build on these first few brushstrokes, so the texture is going to change a lot. Now, the next thing you want to do is switch up to a smaller round brush. I'm using a size 4 round brush and going in and painting those long wavy lines that represent the grain. And you can see here how I drag my brush across the paper, picking up the texture of the paper. So you want to dry brush these lines in, and you want to vary how much paint you have on your brush. You can even add a little bit more water to some areas, and all of this will add to the texture. So this is a good thing. You can also go in at this time and paint in the knots a darker color. Now, I'm continuing to use only 2 colors to create the texture of the wood grain in these boards. I'm using yellow ochre and sepia. Now, if you want to use one or two other colors, you absolutely can. I'm just keeping this very simple for the sake of the demonstration. I'm showing you what you can achieve with just simple colors and just building up layers of texture. And again, all the information on where to create this texture comes from the reference. So make sure you print out the reference and put it next to you, whether it be the one I'm using or a different one that you have. You just want to make sure you're looking at a reference of what wood grain looks like. Now, since I've created the texture of wood grain many, many times, I have muscle memory. So I might veer off from the reference in this demonstration, but I have some guidelines in my head that I'm following. For example, I'm thinking paint the knots really dark. Drop in water after adding paint to create water blooms in the knots because it creates interesting textures. And then I want to build up the texture of the grain around the knots. I want to vary the size of the lines that I create. So some of the lines get really thick and far apart from one another. And then I make those lines thin and closer together in other areas, just like how you see it in the reference. And then I want to vary how dark some of these lines are. And I also want to be very careful to leave some areas barely touched. So some areas in the wood, I'm going to add a lot of detail, and other areas I'm barely going to touch. This one's really important because you don't want to work up the texture of the wood grain evenly in the same. You want it uneven. You want areas barely touched with your watercolors, and other areas you're going to continue to build and build and build. So as you watch me paint, you're going to notice how there's some areas I stop painting lines on. I stop adding texture to. Now remember, you want to go back and forth from painting in distinct lines for the texture of the grain to just dragging your brush across the paper, dry brushing it, picking up the fibers of the paper just to create the texture. And if you want to create an area that looks weathered, then you want to go over an area with more water and give it a light glaze. Now, the one thing I like in the second reference is the distressed look of the wood, and that's a ton of fun to create. So you can go and create dots and dashes and funny lines that don't look like it lines up with the wood grain at all, and that's how you would create that distressed look. So really, anything can go when creating the texture of wood. All right, so I've reached a point in my own painting where I feel like there's just too much of the white of the paper shining through evenly across the texture of my wood grain, and I want to give some of the boards a more weathered appearance. Now to do that, you're going to have to add water to your brush strokes. You want to really water down some areas. You might even want to switch up to your larger round brush and just go across with one or two brush strokes and really wet down half a board to give it a very worn, weathered look. And then after you do that, you're going to have to let it dry completely before going back in to add more texture. Now, once that layer's dry, I feel like I have enough texture built up that it's time to go in and paint the shadows that's in between the boards. Now to do that, I want to paint nice straight lines. So I'm going to use my ruler, and I am going to use a ton of dark sepia pigment to paint these lines. I want to paint really thick lines. Now these lines do not have to be even, but you do want them straight. So using a ruler with a cork bottom is the best way to do this, at least I've found. And you want to make sure you clean off the edge of the ruler in between each line you paint so that you don't accidentally smudge your lines. Now this next step is when the texture of wood really comes to life. You're going to want to use a short bristle brush, whether it's a stencil brush or you trim the top of an old round brush. You're going to want to use a brush with stiff bristles, and you're going to use the splatter technique to splatter like crazy all over the texture of the boards that you're creating. And this, in combination with the dry brush technique and the lines you painted in, really make the wood come to life in your watercolor painting. Now, when you use the splatter technique, you want to make sure you load up your brush with a ton of pigment and very little water, and you can vary the color. So it could be yellow ochre, it could be burnt sienna. You just want to make sure it's a lot of pigment, and make sure when you splatter the paint, you keep changing the direction that you're splattering. And you can splatter as much or as little as you want, depending on how much of this texture you want to create. And once that layer's dry, I want you to step back and ask yourself if you like what you've created. Are you done? Maybe you're done at that point. And if not, if you want to go in and add a little bit more detail, you absolutely can. So you can go in and add more pigment to the knots, and you can go in and deepen some of the color and some of the wood grain, but not all. Remember, there are areas that need to be done. There are areas that need to stay light in order to create the variations that we see in the wood. Now, if you're not sure what to do in your painting, if you know it needs more but you're not sure where to add paint, look at the reference. All the information you need is in the reference. Look at where the darker textures are, and then look at your painting and figure out what you need to do to add more depth to the darker values and the darker textures. Now, this is really important. What creates visual interest in a watercolor is to place darker pigment next to lighter shapes. And lighter shapes are created with a lot of water. So you establish that in the first and second layer. So this is why it's so important to leave areas in the wood grain that are barely touched, and only go in and work up the textures in the darker areas, the area where the wood is the most weathered. So you can go in and build up the detail there, but don't touch the areas in the wood that are meant to stay light. And that way, when you step back and you look at how all these textures come together, you're going to see some striking variations in the wood grain. It's going to look realistic. So you can see I've established a layering pattern when building up the texture of wood grain. I work from light to dark. I go in with a lot of dry brush, trying to pick up the fibers of the paper to create texture, and I hand paint in a lot of the lines of the grain of the wood. And then I'll go in with a wet, watery brushstroke to create the weathered look in some of the areas in the wood. And then I use the splatter technique to finalize all the texture that we see. Now, if you want to go in and create some fine lines and cracks where the wood is separated, you can do that as well. If you want to create the distressed look with creating imperfections in the wood, that's a ton of fun to do. And the more you practice creating the texture of wood and you look at different references of different wood types, the more you're going to pick up on detail that you can create. So I highly encourage you to experiment with different reference photos and experiment with the things you can do with wood and to have fun with it. And most of all, make sure you create contrast between areas that have been barely worked up at all with other areas you go in and you keep building and building and building the detail. And you just keep going through the dry brush technique, adding some wet, watery areas, and using the splatter technique. So you can keep repeating this watercolor strategy until you get the look you want in your own painting. And that's going to vary depending on your art style. Because if you have a really loose style, you're not going to need to add as many layers as I am. And if you're someone that likes precise detail, then you're probably going to go a little slower than how I'm painting and go in with more layers. All right, so things are looking pretty good in my demonstration. I'm about done. I could easily keep nitpicking and building up little detail here, but for the most part, this is how I create the texture of wood grain. And if you would like to put this painting strategy to practice in an actual painting, give my Painting of the Month a try. It features 3 hens sitting in an old barn windowsill, and it's on sale now for $5.99 this month only. After this month, the Painting of the Month changes out to a brand new painting, so you'll have to check it out. And if you would like to learn how to create your own original watercolor paintings, give my Art Academy a try, where you can work directly with me and learn my ORW method to develop your own original realistic watercolor paintings.